Hey DSA, it's Jenna and I am back with your August AI tips. So last month we talked about getting started and using the tools that you already are using that probably have some kind of an AI model infused. Things like Google Gemini and Microsoft Copilot that are already built inside of your day-to-day for email, task management, calendar operations, storage, all that stuff. There's some incredible tools inside of what you're already using. But let's talk about something that has been coming down the pipeline in the world of AI for a while now, and it's finally getting good enough that I feel like I can talk about it. So, agents have been a thing, right? So if you haven't heard that term, basically it means that you can train something to do a task for you the way you want it done on your information. Okay, so it's basically like training an intern or an assistant, but it's an AI model, and it will, do the task once you give it the information and continue to do that task for you. Just no questions asked, right? Once you give it instructions and then training material. This is also what you might refer to as a custom GPT or a gem inside of Gemini. So it's basically just little bots. You can call them into conversations. They can help you write copy. They can help you with planning and strategizing and social media and all of that stuff, right? So you can create all of these little GPT or agents or assistants, but now they have been elevated to the next level, okay? And then we're going to keep getting even more elevated as time goes on. So right now, where we're at is basically you can create customized apps with a paragraph sentence. Okay, let that sink in for a second. So before, we've always been able to prompt and get imagery or prompt and get ideas, but now you can use some of these tools I'll mention in a minute, and you can give it an idea for an app and it will build it for you using a prompt. This has been around for a while, okay? But it wasn't until recently that I felt that they were even good enough that you could control the information that's inside. It does consistently what you want it to do, and therefore it could actually be a feasible tool. So a lot of the time I've got like things on the back burner that I'm looking at, and I'm just waiting for them to be good enough so you don't waste your time. But now we're about there with these. Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, I started exploring something that some designers in Arizona had told me about a couple weeks ago when I was out there for Kravitz speaking and doing a private event. And the program is called Base 44. All right, so go to base44.com. Basically, what this one is, same as a lot of these other ones that are out there too, but I found that this one, I can really control what app I'm producing better than some of these others, okay? So how all of this works is basically if you have an idea, maybe you have onboarding questions you want to ask to your client and you want to give them a link through a portal, all those questions get answered, you can create like very intense, checklists, and here's where you upload this for your project and, submit your inspiration here or whatever. And then you ask project questions. Notoriously, I've always used Typeform for that, but that could potentially be an idea of an app that you can create. You might create budget calculator apps. You might create, and I will say this, but I've tried it and it's not great yet, but you could even create your own internal generative imagery. So like if you have a client that wants to submit their picture and you use your own app to come up with different ideas based off of your training material that you have uploaded and the AI behind the app that just comes with it. Like you don't need to be a developer to use these tools is the point. It literally cuts out developers and allows you to create an app based off of one prompt and then keep chatting. So it's all chat based. You don't have to code. Chat with it to make updates to the app. Okay. Now here's where it's not entirely perfect. However, really, really good. Like this is the point where I was waiting for, okay, where you can actually do this and it actually changes it and doesn't go rogue on you like it was doing before, where it would like do really weird things and break a lot of stuff when you ask for changes to your app. So now I feel like there's a lot more control within these apps to actually create something that's fully functional and usable. I'm currently working on creating something that basically has all of my knowledge base. So all my videos, all my transcripts, all my podcasts, conversations that I do leave confidential, but I'm putting all of these things in a spreadsheet to basically create a knowledge base for my program, The Daily, where you can, instead of like looking and searching for videos, you can now chat with my AI version of myself, which you'll see later if you're in The Daily, and ask questions, and it will pull from my information that I've uploaded to it and then give you replies, and then also say, here's where I got the information. Here's a timestamp if you need it, and if you want to go back and actually watch the tutorial. So a lot of people, what I'm finding is that, I dive into AI. I dive into all tech. I actually very rarely will look at documentation and instructions. I've always been like this, where if I want to learn something, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to break it. I'm going to try and break it so that I learn from my mistakes. And I have always found that that's the best way for me to know not only how to use tools, but how to not use tools and how to fix things for when I'm teaching if that occurs for somebody else. So the only time I typically will read information is if I'm like so stuck and I literally cannot figure it out because it's something weird. But generally, a lot of these programs are set up so similar that I can, figure it out and then break it. I say break it, nothing really breaks. It's just like I get myself into situations where I'm like, how did we get here? And that's just part of learning. So if you're afraid of that part and you just want to like cut to the chase, that's what I'm building. So everything that I have taught, everything that I have created tutorials for or just had in workshop trainings is now chat-based searchable using this app that I created from a paragraph. Okay, so this is the future. Like, think about the times that you have looked for that perfect software, the one that does the calendar invites, the intake, the A to Z of whatever task in the way that you want it done, not the way that the developers created it, the way that you want it to be done. How many times have you looked for that software? I think this industry notoriously jumps around when you get sick of something, or if you don't have time to figure it out and you don't fully understand how the entire operations of that tool. And then we just are like, oh, well, here's something shiny. Let me go try that one. I get it. I was there a long time ago too. Now I'm consolidating and simplifying because a lot of these tools are now integrating where either you can build exactly what you want yourself for that task or for the whole entire project management task, or you can basically just adapt it to other programs that are already out there. So things that you're using in your current workflow, and then infusing AI, other technology on the side to streamline different things. Here's an example. Let's say you have a spreadsheet of information that you have downloaded from your project management portal. Considering that you haven't built your own app and you're still using project management software that is tried and true, you love it, you're not going anywhere, right? So you download all of your specs and you have that PDF or a spreadsheet of all that information. You could technically put it into a program and do a deep search on it, like we talked about last time, and you can say, okay, what's in stock, what's out of stock? For the items that are out of stock, what solutions are similar, maybe on different websites or on this set of websites that I want you to look at. When you do that, that is a task that technically could also just be created as an app for yourself, right? So these little pieces could be one larger app that you create with your process, your login for your team, maybe a task management system, maybe tracking product system. It gets into your inbox because that's something else that these programs do. They integrate with your tools that you're already using, your day-to-day tools. Okay, so they integrate with your Gmail, they integrate with your Microsoft as well, and then other apps, right? So basically you connect them to your app, they get in, they see what's happening over here, and then they turn it into whatever you need it to be through the app, all right? So creating systems and apps that help you with little pieces, this is here and it's accessible and it's usable. And in my opinion, I don't think that it replaces the need for your assistant. I think it gives your assistant and your team, if you have one, a leg up, because now they can use these assistants and bots that are trained on how you want things done in a very specific way. Now, designers and whatever industry related, that you're in, a lot of us don't have time to do some of these things that are necessary, right? Like creating FAQs or summarizing transcripts and then creating other tasks from them. Doing day-to-day tasks and then basically extracting transcripts or voice clips or whatever and repurposing it to be something else is where these apps can come into play. So this is literally the epitome of working smarter, not harder, because once you start to create and build out these very easy to build agent apps for yourself, you have full control of everything in the way that you want it done, not in the way that the softwares that exist right now are telling you to do it, because that's how the programs were built. Now, for all those, hey, can you add this? Can you add that? And maybe they never did to some of these programs, you can build it yourself. Okay, so maybe you use Dibsado, or maybe you're using Asana, or maybe you're using ClickUp. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's not enough. Maybe it's not doing what you need it to do for, any of these tools that you might be processing things through. Build your own. Just build your own with a chat. That's how crazy this stuff is. And guys, we are just getting started, because if you are a ChatGPT user, you probably saw in the past couple of weeks, agents, autonomous agents, have been released to your ChatGPT account. So when you go to do a prompt, you're probably now seeing, do you want to activate agent? And that agent can actually go and do stuff on the internet on your behalf. Okay, you do have to give it your passwords. There's different checkpoints where it will stop and ask you questions, but you can watch it on your screen as it goes, and it does the tasks with various websites for you. So with this now being built into ChatGPT, that enables basically this technology to be used in other tools as well. So like these app building programs, I mean, if you were to build your own, like we're not doing that, but if you were to just from scratch wanted to use the tools and technology inside of ChatGPT, Google Gemini, whatever, basically it's just a connection of what we call an API. So it's like a secret code that your software has that once you enable it to another program, they talk to each other. Okay. So with ChatGPT having all these upgrades, a lot of these software companies that are building out these AI chat tools, and I mean, all the AI softwares are basically looking to these models that have open access, so you can use their tools, their technology and advancements inside of your own apps. So to kind of pull it all together, that's what this is doing. It allows you to come to the website, give it your idea, it builds it for you. You have a chat-based conversation back and forth to get it to be what you want it to be. You publish it, it goes live, and then you can start inviting people to use it if you want to, or it's just an internal tool for yourself. Maybe it's like, you create something where you are in the field and you want to take voice notes, you want to take video clips, you want to take photos, and you also want to be able to write your notes or transcribe your notes and put them with a corresponding picture. You can build that for yourself, okay? And the price point of doing these things, depending on, how much you want to do this, which for me is addicting, and I can't stop making apps. But the more you make, of course, the cost goes up, but think about the other software that you could potentially be eliminating because you have built yourself your own solution. So as much as I love software and tools and all of these things, I see this new direction for anybody to be able to create anything. You don't need a developer anymore. You can use your words and chat with it to build your own apps, which is just wild to me, right? Like, this is the world we live in, and it's only going to get crazier as time goes on. So check this out. My favorite right now, and I will say right now because they're in a race to be the best, right? So I right now prefer Base 44. I've also tried others out there as well. There's another one called Lovable, Luvable. That one's been around for a bit. I didn't love it as much because there's more technical coding stuff to integrate, where Base 44 was very user-friendly and straightforward for the average person that doesn't code. And then I've also tried a few others that I haven't loved, but it could just be because they're not quite there yet with all the new tech that's been coming out, and they just haven't integrated it yet into their apps. But I will tell you that this race reminds me of when we had Stable Diffusion with basically the images that you would create, and then all of these apps started popping up like, hey, reimagine your living room, just send us a picture. And then it gave you like Scandinavian, modern, like very generic things, and then it would populate furniture or design inside. So there was a ton of programs using Stable Diffusion, which was the core program, to build their apps. And then when ChatGPT basically launched that for everybody to be able to use, or something, similar, that kind of made all these other apps obsolete. But there was this race for a while to build something that was user friendly and like end user facing, that took all of that code from the main program and then basically said, here's a clean app. All you have to do is this. So what I think we're going to start seeing is a lot of these apps where you can go like, Base 44, and you can create your own apps, and they run off of different AI models. So I hope I haven't lost you by the end of this video. This one was way more technical than I typically present for you guys, but it is the next part of all of this. So if you want to go try it for free, I'm not an affiliate or anything yet, but maybe I'll partner with them. Just check out Base 44, and then once you do that, if you're on Instagram, you're going to start getting ads for a whole slew of these other guys that are also in this race to build this user-friendly software for the average person to be able to create your own apps. So tons out there. Go try something that is small, that is a task that you do daily or weekly, that could, you could internally train on your information, so you can either eliminate some of your other subscriptions, or just do that one task better, because now you have the tools to do it. Okay, so I'll see you next month for more AI tips.